Hey guys, so I'm going to show you today how to create a metal texture like metal panels. So I like to start by creating the overall look of the texture. Maybe change little things here and there as we go, but I'll try to create some layered texture, like one at the top of another. And also in the border of the texture, just keep in mind it will be seamless, so try to make them match to the other side. So if you go to filter offset, you can set the resolution that half the size you're painting now. You can easily fix the seam. You can do it later if you prefer. I like to do in the end. And because in the end you need to fix a lot of things anyway, so I prefer just fix everything at once. So I'm just adding some lighting. You can do the same for the whole texture, and you can add some color variation here and there, just subtle colors. You can also add some bolts and screws in your texture to add some detail variation. You can damage the border of the panels just to break the straight line. And also, if you have too much brush strokes in your texture, don't worry too much now. You can just smooth them later. We're going to polish. It also helps to add some variation to the surface. Now I'm just trying to create some color variation for the shadow. You can easily do that by going to select and color range. You can select all the dark areas and change the color by pressing Ctrl B, for example. So we can just start to play with the colors. Something interesting to notice is that I have my source of light coming from the top left, so it helps to keep the consistency of the texture. If you see the texture from far, it's better to read. So it does not necessarily need to come from the same direction as mine, but just keep this in mind. So now going to select in color range. You can select your darkest color to change. I like to use this kind of orange color to remind kind of rust, and I think it works very well with this kind of bluish color. So after change the color, you need to smooth the texture a little bit, because after you extract it becomes very well defined, the edges, so just smooth everything. So now let's work on the highlights. As this is metal, we're going to select the same color, not white, okay, because as a metal the highlight should be saturated. So just select the same color but lighter. So be careful with this, don't go very bright, okay, just very subtle. And you can use the brightest color in the very corner. Now we're going to add some details on the surface of the panels. Be careful with this, it should not be very strong. Let's try to simulate some kind of dented surface, but very subtle, otherwise it will look very messy, so be careful with this. Also we can add some damaged surfaces especially on the corner. So now we can finally fix the seam. Going on filter offset, I like to do in the end because, as you can see, most part of the painting is already done, so we can just fix the middle of the texture. I think it's easier like this. I will add now more details on the surfaces, maybe some scratches with the highlights. You can make in a separate layer and change the opacity of the layer after, just to make them not very strong. So now, as the last thing to do, you can just select some of the panels and change their color. I think it will create some nice variation. I like to desaturate them a little bit. So now you can just tweak things here and there as you wish, trying to make them better. But this is everything for this texture. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial, guys. Thank you very much.